Let's take a break from reviewing seasons of NBA teams and let's preview the NBA draft. It's Mock Draft 3.0. It's June the 13th and I'm recording this just so you're aware. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I will iron your sheets when you iron out the inequities in your labor laws. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms. Mock draft shows always get a lot more people in, so welcome to you guys who are here watching. We are doing a bunch of season review shows for teams, but I will make sure that I mention right now, NBA Draft, Wednesday the 25th of June. 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going live here on this YouTube channel, and I break down the picks, interact with you guys in the chat, discuss the real-life implications, the redraft fantasy implications, the dynasty fantasy implications of the draft picks and trades that go down. So join me if you don't want to hear the blather that is on the network that is covering the draft, the stuff that is completely uninformed. Maybe they'll get one of the Marcus Morris, Markieff Morris combination in there to spout their fully formed opinions on players. You'll get better stuff here, I'm pretty sure. So join me, 25th of June, 8 p.m. Like I said, we're here talking about the NBA draft. It is International Albinism Awareness Day. So, now you're aware. Let's talk about this draft. The last mock draft that I did, it was 2 weeks ago. And in that time, we've done other player profiles on the draft. I've read more stuff. I've watched more stuff. I've listened to more stuff about these prospects. And again, let's set out the ground rules of what this is. There will be a draft that I do, a mock draft that I do, where I look at what I would do versus what I think will happen. At the moment, I don't have intel, and I won't get intel, really. What I will do as we get close to the draft, I will look at the sources of information and present that all and compare and contrast with my picks. This is my picks. It's not my big board. They are slightly different. I will do a show on my big board as well. At the moment, my big board goes out to 134 players, and I'm probably happy enough with the top 50 in terms of the order, and the bottom 80, I really do need to dig into those prospects, because when we talk fantasy and dynasty, some of these guys that sit number 100, they get a two-way contract and they pop, and then 3 years later, they're off a G League deal, and they're a player that makes sense in fantasy playoffs or something like that. So I've got to know these guys, but that's the area I've got to focus on next, and that'll all start to come together. So this is my thoughts. So, if your immediate reaction to a pick, and I know some of you will just scroll through, and you'll be like, the Nets would never pick him there. I don't care. Don't care. The Raptors would never do that. Cool. The Raptors would also make a bunch of other bad decisions. So would I, but they have too. So I'm not doing what they would do. I'm doing what I think they should do, based on where the players sit. And it won't be the exact order of my big board. It'll be based on some fit stuff and all that sort of things, team needs and where they are. Whereas the big board is like, who do I think is better and what tiers are they in? So let's get into this. Let's go in with the least surprising pick of this entire mock draft. Of course, we're talking about Cooper Flagg going to the Dallas Mavericks with pick number 1. It's like that situation a couple of years ago when we had Victor Wembanyama as the number 1 pick. What do I need to say about him? Honestly, Flagg's going number 1. He's the best prospect in this draft. He's one of the best prospects we've seen in recent times outside of Wembanyama. He will have ball handling and defensive responsibilities and scoring responsibilities on the Mavericks this season. He will almost assuredly be a top, I would say people will pick him in the top 50 in fantasy drafts. I think they'll be correct. He's immediately a top 10 dynasty player. He's clear above everybody in terms of dynasty ranks for players. He's going to be a positive in points, threes, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. Probably field goals, probably free throws. He has a legitimate chance to be an above-average fantasy contributor in 8 categories. And honestly, he's got a legitimate chance to be a positive contributor in 8 categories, or an above average contributor in 8 categories, honestly, as a rookie. He might be, maybe he's like a 6 category guy as a rookie. This is how well-rounded this game is. And I am obviously, you're pretty dumb if you're not, looking forward to seeing what he's able to do. Now we get to another pick, which is relatively straightforward. We're going to pick number 2, the San Antonio Spurs. I don't think they're trading away from this pick. I think it's relatively clear they're going to stay here. I think it's relatively clear they're going to pick Dylan Harper with this selection, as they should. And yeah, there are spacing concerns with Sohan, with Fox, with Castle, but who cares? You don't make a draft pick based on Jeremy Sohan. You don't make a draft pick based on Stephon Castle. I know we won Rookie of the Year, but if you're trading somebody, it's not the number 2 overall pick, it's Stephon Castle. And yeah, the De'Aaron Fox thing is a little bit complicated. But I do think that at least Fox and Harper can work together. I don't think it's going to be iffy, but Harper's the guy. There's not much more to talk about here, I don't think, with Dylan Harper is he the right pick at this spot? To me, he's very clearly number 2 at this stage as well. In Dynasty rankings for this class, he will be, I don't know if he'll be the second guy drafted for redraft. That's going to depend a lot on where players go and how it all falls into place. He does have an ability, as you can see the numbers on the screen, like he hits some threes even though the percentages are not good. Great steal numbers, rebounders, really solid rebounder, solid assist numbers. They're not going to be spectacular, but I think they'll go up in the NBA. High usage guy, and I think that scales down. This is, again, it's a relatively easy pick, and as per usual now, that means we go into pick 3, and I don't know what to do here, because I don't know whether the Sixers will keep this pick. I'm working under the assumption that they will, because I don't really have any other way of doing that at this stage. I really don't like, and to each their own, I don't like mock drafts that involve fake trades, because that involves just way too many variables. So I'm going to go with VJ Edgecombe here at this pick to number 3 for the Sixers. I have been Ace Bailey at 3 the last 2 mock drafts that I've done, even though I don't believe that Ace Bailey is the 3rd best player in this draft. I'm not even sure that VJ Edgecombe is the 3rd best player in this draft. I actually have in my tier 3 behind Flagg and Dylan Harper on my board, I've got 3 players: Edgecombe, Johnson, and Knipple in that tier. I'm going to take, and I was very tempted to go with Knipple here. I'm going to take Edgecombe because I think the ability to fit next to Maxey makes sense. Next to McCain makes sense. Next to George makes sense. Next to Embiid makes sense. I think he's got defensive scalability and offensive scalability. Will it all work out? I don't know. There is a chance that he's not good enough, that he's not good enough of a ball handler, that he's not good enough of a shooter, and the defense is fine without being great. Is he big enough? I think he probably is. 6'5" without shoes. I think he's probably big enough. But does he have enough on-ball juice to be worth this pick? And I think we always get into these sort of scenarios of like, well, yeah, and I'm doing it right now. I like Knipple. Like, I've got him 3rd, even though it's in a tier. But I go, I don't think on Knipple at pick 3, it seems too high. But, all right, if I can't trade down on the Sixers, and I think he's probably the best fit, why don't I just pick him there? And maybe that's just a failure for me as well. And you might disagree that Knipple's worth that pick there. But often we get bogged down to, well, you're picking at 3. You should got to take the guy that you think is worth it at 3. But what if the guy that you think you should pick for this team is actually worth it? I know that's a whole other sort of discussion. But I'm taking Edgecombe at number 4. Again, still, I'll probably drop a nickname for him on draft night. There's something there. There has to be something there. Let's talk about pick number 4. It's Charlotte. I think the Charlotte Hornets are in a pretty good spot here because the guys that are going to be available to them, whether it is Ace Bailey that goes at number 3, that's cool. Then they can pick Edgecombe or Johnson, or they can pick the guy that I'm picking for them now, Con Knipple. If Johnson goes before, or if Edgecombe goes before, there is someone available for them. And I went back and forth on this last time I took Trey Johnson here. I am just going to, and this is part of, again, refining my process, I'm going to lean into Con Knipple here. I think he can defend fine. He's an excellent shooter. He's an excellent passer. He's got really good size. He's a solid usage player who can go up and down. He's a player that fits with LaMelo Ball. He's a player that fits with Brandon Miller. He's a player that fits with Miles Bridges, although that doesn't really matter. He can play the 2, he can play the 3. He's a connector piece, which Miller really isn't. And I just like what Knipple can bring. So don't get it all twisted. Con, I think he's going to be worth that pick. Now, he's a little bit older than some of the other players like Ace Bailey, and that does come into consideration for me. But I'm going to take Connie Knipple at this spot. He also, interestingly, these 4 players that I've picked in order here, they do project in that same order for me for Dynasty Leagues, which isn't always going to be the case all the way through. Next up, we go to pick 5. The Utah Jazzmen, who obviously are annoyed that they fell this far into the draft. That's okay. It's okay. We'll see what you can do. They're claiming they're not tanking anymore, although maybe that's a discussion for a different day about some of the words that younger Ainge said. We said, we're not going to be manipulating lineups in order to get better draft lotteries. Okay. That doesn't mean you're not tanking, though. Because your manipulation might be just a full fake injury or just sending guys away for nothing back. That's possible. I'm taking Trey Johnson. He has the upside juice as a number 1 sort of scorer. High usage, elite shooting. I worry about some of the defensive stuff with him. There's nobody on the Jazz team, Collier, Kessler, Collier, Kessler, Filipowski, George, Markkanen even, that I would have any consideration in terms of who fits who. Where do they fit? Cody Williams, Taylor Hendricks, I don't care. I'm still just looking for a piece that I can see as that guy, and I think Trey is that player in this particular spot. That's the top 5. We won't go as in-depth on the rest of these picks because we've got to get out of here, obviously. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by Olipop. Olipop is a new kind of soda made for people who love the classic taste of soda, but you want something that supports your health. You don't want all that sugar. Olipop has just between 2 to 5 grams of sugar, and it's got 9 grams of prebiotic fiber in every can. So it's reimagining soda in a way that's better for your gut. Like a regular can of Coke's got 39 grams of sugar. No one wants that. There's only 2 to 5 grams in Olipop, and they're Oli Smart, which is a blend shown to support digestive and overall health. That's great for your gut. You might want to try their Cherry Cola, Classic Grape, or maybe their Dr. Goodwin, which is a Dr. Pepper dupe. Olipop cans are available in stores all over the country, and it's a great new alternative to soda and getting those great nostalgic flavors that you love. So you can get a free can also of Olipop. You just buy any 2 cans in store, and they'll reimburse you for 1. Head to drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA to claim your free can and find Olipop near you. That is drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. OLIPOP. It's 5 draft picks done in this mock draft. So let's go to pick number 6, the Washington Wizards. I'm not going to let him fall any further, and that's Ace Bailey. Now, Bailey does have the size that we love. He's got that allure as a player, but it's just very hard for me with a player with such a bad assist rate, a bad assist to turnover rate, bad shooting, bad free throws. Yes, he was on a bad team. All that is true. But he did play with Dylan Harper, and Harper didn't have all of these same problems. I think there's just a real worry of, I was going to say Kevin Knox II, but Kevin Knox II is actually Kevin Knox II. Is this Kevin Knox III? I think he's a way better player than Kevin Knox. Don't get that twisted. But that is why I've slipped the big fella here, Ace Bailey, down to pick number 6 to the Washington Wizards. Now, the Wizards drafted Keyshawn George and Bub Carrington. Alex Sarr's the only guy I really go, well, let's look to build around him. And I could easily see them going with a Derek Queen in this spot. But because of the way that I played this draft out, Bailey's available. He is an upside usage player, which Sarr is not. And I think that, it would be a little nightmarish with him, with Carrington and Poole immediately. But you think you've got to take that opportunity if you're Washington at pick number 6. Pick number 7 is one that I've gone back and forth on quite a bit. Last time for the Pelicans, I did have Con Knipple in this spot, but of course in this mock draft, Knipple has not fallen to that level. And this is where I was initially in my first mock draft, I believe. Let me double check that. Yeah, I had Kaman Malawach for the Pelicans at pick number 7 in mock draft 1.0, and I'm going back to that. Malawach is huge, just a huge man. He's not the elite rim protector. The block numbers are still good, but he's a high efficiency finisher. He is a very good free throw shooter. I think he's going to be able to step out and hit threes. And I actually think that his pairing and combination with Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones he's actually really, really good. And while we don't always just draft for fit, I think if you are claiming you're making it work with Zion, you do need the right fit. And Eve Misi is not the right fit. Malawach might not ever be a huge minute guy. I think he'll be quite a strong fantasy dynasty player. The blocks, the field goal percentage is already really strong there. He is still really young, and that's going to work in his favor very clearly. And I think that the fit makes sense and the player value there makes sense. Now, this is the next pick number 8, is one that people hated when I did Mock Draft 2.0. I don't care. I'm doing it again because I really do believe in Jace Richardson. Now, you might say the Nets will never do this. Again, like I said, I don't care whether the Nets would do this or not. We know that in the draft, there are always going to be things that happen in terms of players that pop and players that fade and players that struggle. I just think that Richardson's feel, his advanced stats are strong. Yeah, you know what? He is small. There's no question about that. He is short. But he's long. He's got a very strong wingspan. I think the shooting is going to be excellent. I think the passing will improve. I think defensively he will be okay. And the Nets need somebody. And look, your question about the Nets might be, he doesn't fit with Cam Thomas that well. I don't care. And the reason I don't care is I don't believe that Cam Thomas has any business being somebody that you want to build around. Now, maybe Jace Richardson isn't either. But I firmly believe that Cam Thomas is not. So I'm not making the decision, well, it doesn't work with Cam Thomas. I don't care. If him and Cam Thomas play together and it's a disaster and they lose games, they get a good draft pick next season and they move on from Cam Thomas, oh well. That's actually not a bad result. I just want to, again, when I look at all of this stuff with these drafts, I'm always trying to learn lessons. I believe Richardson's feel, not that it's the same as Tyrese Halliburton, but I underrated Halliburton. There's other players I've underrated because of this. The ability to play smart basketball, I am valuing more, and I am putting Richardson in this spot. This is a big riser for me here at number 9. I'm going to take Tom Sorba going to Toronto. Sorba injured at the end of the season with the foot issue, which is a concern. We're always going to have concerns about big men and foot problems. Sorba's numbers are incredibly strong. Big blocks, big steals, good field goals. The shooting, I'm not sure whether it comes. I think it might. He had some okay and pretty strong like free throw numbers. They're not the worst, but they're not terrible. The usage is pretty good. I had Sorba down at 16 last time, but I've bumped him all the way up here to number 9 to the Raptors. I do think that his game, or he is going to be one of those players where I think his dynasty value is ahead of his real-life draft pick number. By the way, one of the guys whose numbers don't translate all that well for dynasty is Trey Johnson. Sorba's numbers translate incredibly well. And yes, he'd probably be behind Pirtle year 1, but I think 2 years, in second year, third year, we're talking about maybe a top 100 guy. He's one of the guys that I'm probably higher on than most. Him and Jace are probably my 2 guys there. At number 10, it's the Houston Rockets, and I'm going to take the guy that at the moment is still playing, and he's playing really well. I had him at 9 in my first mock, 11 in my second mock, and now 10 in this one. It's Noah Essengay, playing over for Ratio Farm Ulm. He's incredibly young. One of the things about him that I love, the shooting is still a work in progress, but he's drawing free throws at such a high level as such a young player. That's not an easy thing to do. He's long, there's defensive upside, there is shooting upside, there's finishing upside, there's passing upside, the size is there. And yes, this Rockets team doesn't realistically need a starter at this point, given where they are and how the team looks and how it's structured, all that sort of stuff. But when you've got guys like Reed Shepherd and Cam Whitmore as part of your bench group, this player like Essengay, who again, he's very much younger, we're talking 3 years younger than these guys, can come in, not play much, develop, and then if you need that extra Tari Eason defendery sort of guy who fits alongside other usage players with an ability to develop out, I think just having that sort of a home run swing type of a play for Houston, I think it makes some sense to me. I hope it makes sense, because that's the pick I've made. At number 11, we're going with Carter Bryant. That's the Portland Trailblazers pick. Numerous ways I could go here. Bryant is someone who I'm a little bit all over the place with. I had him number 10 in the last mock. I'm up to number 11, or down to number 11 here for Bryant. His lack of offensive usage is very scary. 16 usage is not a good number. The steal and block numbers are outrageously good. I'm not sure how well we're going to, or how much we're going to be able to rely upon him as a shooter. Probably someone for Dynasty that we pick lower than his actual draft slot. But the ability as a defender, the size, the positional versatility or the positional need that where he plays on the wing is key. And Portland having Jeremy Grant, who won't be there for long, but pairing him with Denny Avdia and with the no defense, Scoots, Shadens, Simonses. I think that there is a fit thing with Portland, even though some of those guys won't be there. Bryant, I do worry that it's just going to be a lot of defense that the offense doesn't ever catch up. But I'm taking that chance with him. He's young. He's got good size. The shooting's shown a few little things. We'll see if it gets there. And now we get to pick 12. And this is one of the big fallers in this mock for me. It's Derek Queen. This is Chicago at pick number 12. It's a tough one for me. I could see him at 6. The offensive stuff for him is very clearly strong. But can he shoot? Can you defend ever? Do you need to tailor things to him for him to be worth it? Like, probably. And I'm not sure that's something that I'm super into. So I have dropped him down here to number 12. Now, is his fit with Nikola Vucevic horrific? Yes. It's terrible. But Vuc is 35. He's an expiring contract. The one we got to watch for is, like, would he fit with much as Buzelis? And I think yes is the answer there. And that gives Buzelis roaming ability. It gives Queen an ability with someone to protect him. And it's not quite the same as pairing him with Alex Sarr, for example. But I think the Bulls team, which again is weird and continues to be weird, I think Queen's offensive hub ability would work okay. I hope it would anyway. We'll come back for the rest of the first round, but today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA Finals are on. It's 2-1 Pacers at the moment, and every night is delivering surprising, big, huge, important, monumental performances. And with all that stuff that's going on, all those big shots and big defensive plays and surprising results, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live during the game. Player props, you've got performance trends, same game parlays. You've got more ways than ever now to play smart and to win big. You know who's showing up in the biggest moments. You know these guys stepping up. You've got random performances from Obi Toppin and Benedict Mathurin. You've got Tyler, that's not his name, Tyrese Halliburton. You've got Pascal Siakam. You've got Shea. You've got Jalen. You've got Chet. All of these players in the NBA Finals, you can bet on them live during the game with their player props and combine them into a same game parlay. And if you're new, your first $5 bet wins. You get $200 in bonus bets. So if you are new to FanDuel, it is the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right, let's go. Let's go through the next group. The next group, is that what I'm trying to say? No, the next pick is what I'm trying to say. Pick number 13. Now, I've been out on this player, and probably am still a little bit out on this guy compared to where you might think that this guy should go, and that's Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma. But this is the first time out of my mock drafts that I've had him in the lottery. Part of the reason why I'm not as high on him is I do worry about the shooting. I think there's a real concern with the shooting with Fears. Now, dynasty-wise, he translates incredibly well. Because look at the usage number, 32 usage. He's very young, like really young, a reclassification player like Cooper Flagg. This is pick 13, by the way, which is the Atlanta Hawks. And I know they've got Trae Young. I know that. Is it lazy to pick a point guard that went to Oklahoma behind Trae Young? Maybe. But also, they've had so many problems with their backup point guard role over the time, and maybe Kobe Buffington can't do it. Fears is 100% not ready to start in an NBA game at this point, and maybe not even be a backup immediately. But he's 18. You'd be 19 at the start of the season. You grab him, he learns, he works into a backup role. Trae, at some point, who knows if he leaves or not, and by the time that happens, he might be 23 and ready to cook. Or he might be bad. His feel might be off. His shooting might be terrible. His defense might not be there. I do give him this. The steal rate, very impressive. The free throws, incredibly good. And all those are strong points as to why maybe he is able to be successful. There's a bunch of point guards in this area of the draft where I sort of go back and forward on them. I went with Fears here in this spot, but it could easily be a number of different guys. At number 14, I'm almost certain this pick will not be a Spurs pick. It could be a Suns pick if KD is traded. I don't know. But I'm going to take Liam McNeely going to the San Antonio Spurs. Now, McNeely's reputation as a shooter did not get reflected in the numbers at UConn last season. He shot 32% from 3, 38 overall. He's a solid rebounder. His volume of threes was still good. He had good usage. His minutes were strong. We're talking about a Spurs team here again that is going to be shooting challenged. And I'm making this pick because it is the Spurs. And I think that when you're in this position the Spurs are, it's a unique spot to be where they are. Having someone like McNeely over someone you might think is easily a better pick, like I had point guards in a tier or higher than McNeely here, but they 100% aren't going to pick another point guard in this spot. Like that is just not going to happen. So McNeely's size, positional value, shooting, which is incredibly important, I think makes it the pick that I'm going to go with. Let's go to pick number 15, and this guy's also fallen quite a bit. It's Colin Murray-Boyles, who I had at number 12 last time. There are people who have him in the top 5. I've seen some people have him in the 30s. The opinion on him is quite a bit all over the place. This is the Oklahoma City Thunder's pick at pick number 15, and I am going to take CMB off the board. Murray-Boyles, I'm always going to get red flagged when I see someone's comp being Draymond Green, because it's not a thing. It's not a thing that happens. People can't be Draymond Green because Draymond Green is only Draymond Green because he is Draymond Green. And I know that's a convoluted way of saying that, but the reason that Draymond is so exceptional is because nobody else does that. Nobody else is able to be in that position. And his advanced stat comps, while they can be really strong, like it's these undersized guys who do nothing. Jordan Bell, Tyler Bay, Quincy Acey. Yuck. Offensively, bad. Team was bad. Couldn't lift them to any sort of success rate. Didn't shoot well. I don't know if, again, what is he, 6'9" in shoes? And he probably has to play center? And he's not as good as some of those guys who've had success at that size? I don't like it. But it is the Thunder. They can basically take free swings on anybody. I think they can work this sort of stuff out and find ways to utilize him, like similar to a Kenrich Williams, for example. And I couldn't let him slide any further. I mean, I could have, and maybe I will in future mocks, but that's not where we're at this point. Let's recap the top 15 in this mock draft now, before we go through the back end 15. Number 1, Cooper Flagg. Yeah, I think we got that one. Number 2, Dylan Harper. Number 3, VJ Edgecombe. Number 4, Con Knipple. Number 5, Trey Johnson. Number 6, Ace Bailey. Number 7, Kaman Malwach. Number 8, Jace Richardson. Number 9, Thomas Sorba. Number 10, Noah Essengay. Number 11, Carter Bryant. Number 12, Derek Queen. Number 13, Jeremiah Fears. Number 14, Liam McNeely. And number 15, Colin Murray-Boyles. Now it is our Orlando Magic at pick number 16. Last time I had Thomas Sorba going here. Not anymore because I put him way higher. And I'm in on Nolan Traoré, the French point guard who was very highly regarded before the season, fell off, but has picked it up as the season's gone along. The shooting numbers are actually improving as things keep going. Good passer, good shooter, good scorer, good size, solid defender. What do the Magic need? It's guard help, yeah? Anthony Black, I don't think is it. Cole Anthony's not in their plans. Is Traoré a good enough shooter? Don't know about that, but I think he's probably got better prospects of being that than Anthony Black has. And just giving them that opportunity to consolidate pieces, and that might mean an Anthony trade or a Black trade, or even this sort of draft pick trade. That's all very possible. That could be what they do. But like I said with Jeremiah Fears earlier, I had a bunch of other guards around this same spot, and one of those was Traoré, who I actually do have marginally ahead of Fears on my big board, but I ended up going with Fears to Atlanta, and I'm taking Traoré at this particular spot to the Magic at 16. At pick number 17, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. And this is another point guard, Yegor Demon, who's like 6'9", Josh Giddey sized. Very low usage player, really high level passer. The shooting is the concern. It obviously, you look at the numbers, they're bad. 27% from 3 is bad. What is encouraging? His free throws, bad. Rim finishing, terrible. But he took threes. That's encouraging. The steals are solid, and we love that. We love his smart play. We love his passing ability. But that shooting stuff is a real problem. Now, the Wolves do need shooting, but they also need a point guard. I'm not sure if Rob Dillingham's going to be it. Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they're not long-term solutions, and neither is Mike Conley. And Demon has obviously huge positional size. And I just think they need to take that chance. And I think that Demon's three-point volume, while the shooting is bad, that is encouraging. And it just gives a little bit of time for Minnesota to work with him and see where we get. Because if you get that all to work in that size body, you're feeling pretty good about it. The Wizards have pick 18. I'm going to take an older prospect, and that's not usually my way to go about things, but I think that Cedric Coward fits a lot of different needs at this spot for a lot of different teams. Coward has been rising up draft boards a lot. I think largely there's because there was just a lot of buzz about him going to Duke. The numbers are fantastic in the 6 games that he played, but it's 6 games. He's almost 22. He's a 20 usage player, 40% from 3. Strong block numbers. That won't be a real thing in the NBA, I'm pretty sure, as Obi obviously either agrees or disagrees. I'm not sure. He won't be putting those sort of block numbers up in the NBA, but a shooting wing with positional size who can probably handle the ball a little bit, and the Wizards just need players. And I think an upgrade from the position that Corey Kispert's been playing, I think Coward's worth looking at in that spot. We'll come back. I also said we'll come back and talk about more of the things after this ad, but I already did the ad, so I don't need to come and do that. We can just roll straight through. At pick number 19, which is the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, at pick number 8, I took Jace Richardson. I'm doubling down. I don't care. Kasparas Yakuchonis. Now, you might have said you wanted Yakuchonis to go at 8 to the Nets. You might have wanted Demon. You might have wanted Traore. You might have wanted Fierce. Okay. Yakuchonis has huge turnover issues, and I don't normally care about turnovers, but there comes a spot where they get way too big, and that was him. The shooting is iffy. His passing numbers, strong. Solid usage. Good size. Great size. I like all of that. It is the turnovers. It is the shooting that is a concern for Yakuchonis. Could he and Richardson end up playing together? I mean, it's feasible. I don't think that's a crazy idea. Maybe you think it is, but you just need to take swings if you're the Nets. You need to take chances to see, can I get a lead ball handler? Who else is available in this area that would be a better upside pick? I don't really see it, and that's why I'm going to take Yakuchonis at pick 19 to Brooklyn. At pick 20, it is the Golden State. No, it's not the Golden State Warriors. It's the old Warriors pick. It's the Miami Heat. I'm going to take Nick Clifford, a guy that could have come out in last year's draft. Didn't. Went back to school and changed quite a bit of his role at Colorado State, which often happens to these guys. Now, he is very clearly older. He's 23 years of age. Look at those assists and rebound numbers. They're very strong. The shooting stuff is pretty good. I do think that, again, if you want to talk about fit, getting a guy that can play in the Heat system with the Heat sensibilities, and being a guy that does multiple things with some shooting, some usage, some ball handling, some defense, some malleability. Wiggins, who knows where they're going to go with him. I don't know if they're making moves for other players or whatever, but, Jaime Jaquez didn't work out. They got Pelle Larsson in that spot. I think Clifford's multifunctional ability is worth a crack there. Pick number 21, the Utah Jazz again. I'm going to go upside, young freshman Georgia, Asa Newell, who is the sort of player that I usually fall in love with. So I've been a bit more skeptical of these players. This stretch 4, shot blocking, sort of usage upside players like current Jazz player Taylor Hendricks, who I thought was showing some stuff, but then of course got hurt. So I am going with Newell there because, again, with the Jazz, we just want to get talent. We just want to accumulate players. Could Newell play the 5? Could he play with Kessler? Could he play with Filipowski? Can he play with Hendricks? Maybe. We want to find out. Do I feel good about any of those guys? I feel okay about those guys, but I don't feel good enough to say, well, we're good. We're set here. Newell probably couldn't play the 3, but I do think there is enough youth, defensive upside, some shooting upside to make a skerrick of sense. Pick number 22 is the Atlanta Hawks again. This is the same sort of a player. A little bit older, Rasheer Fleming. They are obviously got a forward. Jalen Johnson, they've got another forward in Zach Ricochet. That's okay. This is a sort of a player that is very reminiscent of sort of the numbers that John Collins put up in college. In a, like, hey, look at the numbers he's putting up. He's being slept on a little bit. Why is that? I think some of it is the level of competition. I think some of it is he's a little bit older. If it works with Fleming, and he can actually shoot, which I'm skeptical of, but he hit 2 threes a game at 39%. Well, that's really, really strong. And as always, players get hurt. Jalen Johnson does. We need trades. He's getting blocked. You move him for somebody else to consolidate. And it's about finding value in the guys that are left over here. And this was sort of close to that end of my next tier. Now let's go to pick 23. The Indiana Pacers are in the NBA Finals. They're playing Obi Toppin at backup center. Thomas Bryant's not the answer. Miles Turner's going to get a big extension. But let's take Yohan Berenger, who is a French big man, who is playing over at in Slovenia. I think it's in Slovenia. Rim running center, shot blocker, high level finisher. Not sure there's much shooting upside, but Isaiah Jackson's coming off an Achilles tear. We don't know whether he's going to be fine. And you just need some extra center depth. Berenger pushes up into this tier for me, and that's the direction I'm going to go. At pick number 23 for the Indiana Pacers. At pick number 24, who's got pick number 24 is the Thunder, another team obviously still going in the NBA Finals. This player has not been in my mock draft so far. It's Drake Powell, a wing from North Carolina. Powell getting a little bit of buzz at the moment. There's a lot of people talking about him. I could see him going in round 2. I could see him actually jumping inside the top 20 in certain spots. He's under 20 years of age. He's a low usage player, but he's a very strong defender. Good block numbers. The 3-point shooting numbers are strong. I'm not sure how much I'd buy it given his bad free throws. But Powell in this spot again, just a nice 6'6" wing player who can defend and doesn't need to be a usage guy necessarily and can be a role player. And it's the Thunder. And we have very good trust in their level of development and how they run with these sort of players. So Drake Powell is what I'm doing at 24 to the Thunder. Next, we go to pick number 25. There's another team with a second draft pick in the first round. We're talking about the Orlando Magic again at pick number 25. And I'm going to choose Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida. 22, so he's a little bit older, but just a bucket load of threes. 39% from 3, over 3 makes a game per 36 minutes. Assist rate is not super strong, but again, we took a point guard for them at pick 16 with Traore. I'm getting another point guard here. I just want some extra shooting in there. He is a little bit on the short side, 6'3", not terrible. Again, a little bit of an older option and really clearly had strong value through the national title run for that team as their leader. But Clayton's shooting ability, there are people, and I'll talk about this with a couple of these other picks here, that look at Clayton and go, yeah, he's a top 10 guy. I would pick him in the top 6. Now, to me, that's crazy. But we don't know how these players are going to turn out. And while I decry that level of senior humping, Clayton could be one of the better players in this draft. The shooting is real. The volume is real. The leadership stuff is important and it's there. And I think Orlando makes a ton of sense for him and they'd be very happy to get him in that spot. Now we go to a team that's got back-to-back picks. So at pick number 26, it's the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm going to take with the first of their back-to-back picks, Bogoljub Markovic, the 6'11" big man from Serbia. He's got shooting ability, 39%. 1 block a game is okay. The passing is intriguing. He's like 6'11", 7 foot, 3.2 assists per 36 minutes, over a 3 a game, 17 points. He's 20 years of age. He's skinny. Obviously, that photo there should give you shivers up your spine, looking like Alexei Pokusevski. But I think he's a better player than Pokusevski. He's a better prospect versus where Poku is now as a player. The passing is still intriguing. The shooting is intriguing. And again, the Nets just need options and they need players because nobody on this team currently is the guy. And yeah, they've got Noah Clowney, whatever. They've got Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe and Cam Johnson and Cam Thomas. It doesn't matter. You just want to get guys in that you think are able to step up and do a little bit more. The next pick, again, I'm just trying to grab some guys. And I could have gone in a different direction here for Brooklyn with... There is a little bit of a run on centers at this part of my mock draft. So I'm going to take Danny Wolf, who played as a point guard for Michigan. He averaged 4.2 assists and 12 rebounds. He shot 34 from 3, but bad free throws. He won't do the sort of stuff he did at Michigan in the NBA, but there is some spacing. There is some ball handling and passing ability. There's very strong rebounding numbers. I don't know, Claxton's not a long-term prospect on the Nets. He's just not. I don't know whether Sharpe is or not. So let me see what Wolf can do, because he shows a malleability. He shows an ability to adjust. He shows a willingness to adapt and do what's needed for the team. And honestly, just be a baller. And I can't believe that in the big 25 at my big age, said be a baller. But that's okay. We live and we learn. Pick number 28. I said there was a lot of centers going on, so we're going with Maxime Reynaud from Stanford. This is the other play. Someone said, hey, if I was the Pelicans, I'm taking him at 7. Like, hey, that's crazy to me. But Reynaud's second half of the season was really good. He does actually fit perfectly what the Pelicans would need as a stretch big man who really did improve his rim protection last season. When we had Raf Barlow on from Locked On NBA Big Board, we talked about how good his rim protection was end of season. So maybe that's not crazy. And if he was like 19, I think Reynaud doing this sort of stuff would be an easy top 10 sort of a player. But he's 22. All right, he's huge. He hit 2 threes a game at 35%. He hit his free throws. He blocked shots, and that improved as the season went on. So pick number 28, that's Boston. Now, they're probably going to be cutting costs. Al Horford's 50 years old. I don't know if Porzingis is going to be around. Yeah, sure, Luke Cornett exists, but whatever. Could Reynaud be that next guy? Could Reynaud be budget Porzingis? Stretch, shot blocking, rebounding. Why not? See how it goes. They make a lot of good decisions in the draft. They've made some bad ones, as we all have. But I do think that Reynaud, given the way the centers are flying off the board here, makes sense. And the next pick is going to be a center as well. It's pick number 29, the Suns. They could easily be up in the lottery due to trading and Kevin Durant, but they need a center very clearly. They could get something back in a trade, but I'm going to take Ryan Kalkbrenner. Because let's be honest, BDNR, Nick Richards, is not it. Kalkbrenner, huge, imposing big man. Big shot blocking numbers. Huge shot blocking numbers. Huge minutes. He is older. The Suns don't want to rebuild, and while it is a general rule that college seniors, while they're NBA ready, it's a garbage take and it's not real, I think that statement might end up turning a little bit more real as NIL stuff starts to come in. And we'll see these players going back to school, and eventually we're going to get to the stage with NIL and the draft where, while we've seen a lot of these, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys who would have been back-end first-round players go back to school, we go, well, the depth of the draft cuts down, and that's true. But eventually those guys have to leave college. So in like 2 or 3 years' time, the cycle will adjust. So instead of guys necessarily coming out at 19 and getting picked at 26, we're going to have a whole bunch of 22 and 23-year-olds that go between 15 and 23. And the cycle will readjust. And I say all that to say that, like, is Kalkbrenner a NBA-ready, at least backup big man? I'm not sure about being NBA-ready, but the Suns need help in that spot. He is a very good rim protector who showed a little bit of spacing ability. And I think it's just a way to go. He's not raw. We'll put it that way. He's not raw. He might not be NBA ready, but he's not raw. The last pick in the first round. It's the Clippers that hold this pick. I'm going to take Adu Thero. Defensive wing from Arkansas. Last mock draft, I had Thero going at 28 to the Celtics. A lot of these picks in this area are pretty or relatively interchangeable in terms of they go up and down in these areas. Thero averaged 2.1 steals and 0.9 blocks. His shooting is quite bad, but he was a high usage guy, 26 usage at Arkansas. He's 21, he's a little bit older. He somehow averaged 20 points despite not being able to shoot. The size is there. The positional need is there. On this Clippers team, you're talking about like Norm Powell would often play the 3. Yeah, you've got Nick Batum who holds down some of those minutes there. I think Thero's not going to do much initially. He'll take a little bit of time, but there is that defensive ability, the rebounding ability, perimeter, and in the paint sort of defense that Thero can bring. And I'm okay with that pick. Let's go back and recap. Let's go back and recap all of the first round now. From 1 through 30, so you get an idea of where we sat with all of that. And quite a few adjustments from last time. Number 1, we went with Cooper Flagg. Number 2, Dylan Harper. Number 3, VJ Edgecombe. Number 4, Con Knipple. Number 5, Trey Johnson. Number 6 to the Wizards, Ace Bailey. 7 to the Pelicans, Kaman Malawach. Number 8 to the Nets, Jace Richardson. Number 9 to the Raptors, Thomas Sorba, the old Sorbet. Number 10 to the Rockets, Noah Esenge. Number 11 to Portland, Carter Bryant. Number 12 to the Bulls, Derek Queen. 13 to the Hawks, Jeremiah Fears. 14 to the Spurs, Liam McNeely. 15 to the Thunder, Colin Murray-Boyles. 16 to the Orlando Magic, Nolan Traore. 17 to the Wolves, Yegor Demon. 18 to the Wizards, Cedric Coward. 19, Kasparas Yakuchonis. As I just completely forget who's got pick 19. Remind me. The Nets. Of course it was. Number 20, Nick Clifford to the Miami Heat. Number 21, Asa Newell to the Utah Jazz. 22, Rashia Fleming to the Atlanta Hawks. Number 23, Johan Berenger to the Pacers. 24, Drake Powell to the Thunder. 25, Walter Clayton Jr. to the Magic. 26, Bogolyub Markovic to the Nets. 27, Danny Wolf to the Nets. 28, Maxime Reynaud to the Celtics. 29, Ryan Kalkbrenner to the Suns. I know he didn't go to Michigan State. But number 30, Adu Thero going to the LA Clippers. And that is my mock draft 3.0. Constructive thoughts, criticisms, all welcome. Your own mock draft, your own big board, your own reasons why someone may or may not work. Love to hear it in the comments below, so drop them down there. Hit the subscribe as well. We've got more team review shows coming, more mock drafts, big boards, all that stuff coming up, culminating in the live NBA draft show Wednesday, the 25th of June at 8 p.m. Eastern. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.